Martinsville, if it's not, too wet or even raining, maybe I think it'd be okay.
Is this today the first day you got to see Chase?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen him yet still. So we'll have our debrief here soon. Be good to kind of see how he felt in the car, and he seemed to be fast in practice still. So yeah.
Was there any kind of energy around the Hendrick building this week with him returning? Any excitement for him to come back? Or what was that vibe like?
Well, honestly, I mean, I think it was, I don't know if it was hush-hush or just last minute, but I had no clue that he was even in town, I guess in the simulator, and then decided to race. So, yeah, I think that was maybe later in the week. I can't remember. But, yeah, so I was surprised as probably anybody.
How different was everything at Hendrick Motorsports without Chase in the car? I know he was in the meetings and whatnot, but just without him at the racetrack, without him in the car, what was different?
Well, he's so good at, I feel like he's probably the best out of the four of us at like, describing his car and what he feels. And so, obviously when you don't have him on the track, he's not able to, talk about his car and, continue to get the whole organization better. But, I felt like Josh did a good job filling in. Jordan Taylor did a really good job. I thought he was really beneficial at the road course, just with his feel and the way he describes things. So I thought Hendrick Motorsports did a good job throughout Chase's time out, and I feel like the drivers that got in did a really good job also.
You had your high limit stuff, right? So that's why you weren't even in town really.
Yeah, I had texted him I think that day and was just like catching up, like, hey, how you been, how you feeling, and had no clue that I think he might have been in the shop that day, or maybe they decided that night or next day, I can't remember. But yeah, I was shocked because like he didn't lead me to believe that, not that we like got too in depth or anything, but I guess I was just surprised because I hadn't heard anything.
After being around Josh for so long and seeing what he's done in a short time, where do you rank him as a quote-unquote, free prospect, going into Cup for next year?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'd have to look. I don't really know all the prospects, I guess, for the Cup Series, but I mean, he's on the very short list, if not at the top of that list. So, yeah, I've mentioned it before, but he's super deserving of a Cup Series ride. I think he's worked extremely hard to get to the point that he's at even now, and I feel like he's very mature. He's the little bit I've been around him, I could see him leading a team. So yeah, I think he's a great driver and great for any organization out there.
You say leading a team. What has been some things that you've learned from Josh over the last few weeks that he's been with your team?
I think you can just look at, like, it didn't seem like he was nervous or anything coming in, and I think it'd be easy for anybody to be nervous coming into the top ride in the sport, with a lot of pressure and being around hundreds of people he probably doesn't know, and being in competition meetings with I guess other drivers who have a lot of experience in the car. But yeah, I feel like he was very confident, and I think that shows a lot about a caliber driver in the Cup Series.
What is surprised that Priest didn't get penalized after seeing Denny get penalized for the aggressive driving?
No, I guess I don't think it was. I don't know how similar it was, so I don't know.
What's the physicality in the car of Martinsville when you think of a screw next to your knee, or you can envision as a driver what you're experiencing? What is the physicality?
Well, I don't know. Knock on wood, I've never broken a leg, so I don't know. I don't know what it feels like. So I guess only you'd have to ask him. I'm not really sure.
But I mean, you envisioning how physical is it for you, just a healthy guy?
Well, I mean, healthy, I don't feel like it's that physical, but I'm sure he's still in some pain, so I don't know how that will feel after 400 laps. But yeah, I don't know. I guess only he knows, or somebody else has maybe broken a leg, Keselowski, I guess.
What's the most pain you've been in a car, and what's your pain tolerance as a driver?
I don't know. I broke a rib a few years ago, and I had to get a shot in my butt, and that kind of numbed it for a little while. So I'm sure he'll do the same. But yeah, I mean, it was only painful for a couple weeks in the car, so not nearly as serious as a leg.
To follow up on his note earlier, have you had any conversations with Ryan Priest in the week since?
No, I haven't, and I think like both of us said, I don't really feel like we needed to.
You're a high limit series. Obviously, you run one race last year, and so this is kind of, I guess, the grand opening or beginning. How did you feel it went, and the learnings to carry things forward to make the next ones bigger and better?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it went well. I think, for our first time, it sounded like competitors thought it went okay too. I think, immediately afterwards, though, I was already talking to Brad and about what we could do to be more efficient. I think is the biggest thing, and just better overall. There was some issues with the broadcast and just network data out there and kind of in the middle of nowhere. So just little stuff like that, being a little bit more prepared and ready to go. But I thought overall we did a good job, and you have to start somewhere, and I think we can go up from there, which is good.
How do you hope, other than obviously, I know it's about a part of it paying the competitors more, but how do you hope it changes or further impacts sprint car racing moving forward?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think financially, obviously, we wanted to add some more money to the season, and we did. I think we're at $1.4 million added to the overall sprint car purse, which is great. Only over 11 races too, so that's promising. And if in the future it has other series and maybe unsanctioned events pay bigger money, I think then it's successful. So, but I don't know. I mean, we're kind of our own little brand too. Just midweek stuff and having fun, and hopefully standing out on that.
Thank you.
Next week at Talladega, obviously manufacturers got to work together, teams have to work together. How do you manage that? How do you find each other and find a way to do it? You guys Hendrick seems to have a pretty good handle on that as a team. How do you do that?
Well, I think it starts with fast cars. That helps. But it's tough, and I feel like with the next-gen car, it's really down to 2 lanes, so it's even much harder to get to the front. So really it comes down to, saving fuel and pit strategy and getting the green flag stops and stuff like that to execute and kind of leapfrog your way forward. So as far as racing around and finding people, that's really tough. And it's always been tough that way. But, yeah, I don't know. I think, at times I feel like we as a manufacturer haven't done the best job. There's been other times where we've done great and a Chevy's won. But I think consistently the Fords probably do the best job. And, a lot of times it's really tough when you have so many cars out there to be organized. So, but yeah, it's just, it's hard to have a plan at Daytona or Talladega because it's anything can happen.
After your strong run there last year and your strong run in the 500 this year, is your mindset at all different heading to Talladega?
I don't know. I don't really know what your mindset is. I mean, I always go there with the mindset of wanting to be up front the whole time and not getting in a crash, and it doesn't seem to work out all the time. But I mean, I guess that's the case for everybody, really. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people end up crash. So just try to execute the whole race. Like I said, I think a lot of it comes down to executing your fuel savings and saving fuel to have a shorter pit stop, and then getting in front of the field that way. So, which is an area I feel like I do a good job at, but then also just being in the right place at the right time.
Cliff's back this weekend. I mean, he's been on the radio, or he's been involved with the team, but actually having him physically at the track working with the team, what's the adjustment like there?
I feel like there's no adjustment getting him back with the team. It's been nice to hear him, on the radio, during practice, and just kind of him, not coach me along, but keep me updated and stuff. Just having that familiar voice on the radio again was nice. So, it's more of a hassle really when a crew chief's suspended. It's very similar with him being around, but it's just a little logistically a little tougher.
What's the difference between he and Kevin?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, Kevin, I don't think I ever heard Kevin speak once on the radio. So then that's a fact. So it's really in that case, my engineer Adam Wall, he kind of turns into more of the crew chief, and but he's done a really good job. I was surprised the 4 races we had last year. You know, Adam's a really quiet guy, and I was a little nervous last year when we had the 4 races that we had to do, because I was like, man, he's like really quiet and doesn't talk a lot. But I thought he did a really good job, and did a great job again this time, and we were able to get a win. We had some rough races, but got a win, and it was cool to do that.
Is Kevin quiet on the radio because Adam is familiar with you and the team, and so he just has that familiarity?
I don't know exactly, but I would assume, yeah, you know, Adam's just familiar and with everything, and kind of the cadence of how everything works on the radio as well as probably on the pit box. You know, I've never been on the pit box, but you know, I'm sure he's just familiar with all that.
Thanks.
Based on how it did at Phoenix and Richmond, do you feel that the new short track package is going to produce better racing tomorrow?
I think so, and it seems warmer, and hopefully it doesn't rain while we're racing. But there was a lot of rubber on the track there in practice, so I feel like this place is the best when there's rubber and the pace slows down. It gets tougher to drive.
Denny has started calling out drivers every week on his podcast. Did you see the clip of him calling you out this week?
Just the little Instagram video.
What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's not wrong. Like, I can't deny that. I can't argue that that he's wrong. So, but he's also not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So, but no, I don't let things get to me really. So, I've had a lot of people reach out like, man, did you see what Denny said? I thought you guys were buddies, and it doesn't get to me.
You just got to shoot him with one of those things, y'all.
Oh, I whooped his ass with the gel gun already. So, yeah.
Last one I had for you, just looking ahead a couple of weeks to Dover. Hendrick Motorsports in general has been really good there, and you and Alex were class the field there.
This is Austin Dillon, driver of the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also check out one of those 2 videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.